Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So there has already been a fighter that has put himself at a major disadvantage moving up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo Alvarez, and that was Jermell Charlo. Now, leading up to that fight, Jermell, he kept saying that he was the bigger fighter. He's the bigger fighter because he's taller, because he has longer arms. And I was saying in my videos, that is a really stupid thing to say because height does not translate to weight. That's the reason why we have weight divisions and not height divisions. If it was based on what Jermell said, then Sebastian Fundora, he would be able to jump up right now from junior middleweight to light heavyweight or cruiserweight, or actually heavyweight if we're basing it on height. So anyway, Jermell, he was looking at Canelo Alvarez the exact same way that Crawford is looking at Canelo. You know, the guy is not that tall for a super middleweight. You know, he has shorter arms, and we seen what happened in that fight. Jermell Charlo, he did not look anything like the super welterweight Jermell Charlo. So because of this, I've been wanting to know, what is Jermell's thoughts on this fight when it comes to Canelo versus Crawford? How does he see this fight? Well, Jermell would actually admit after the fight that his perception of Canelo Alvarez was wrong. Because after the fight, he admitted that the size was a big difference. He said that Canelo is like an ox. He admitted that he wasn't used to that kind of power from a natural super middleweight because that was his first time fighting at 168. So I want to play the clip of what he said, but before I do, I want to remind you guys that Jermell Charlo is no Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is a much better fighter than Jermell Charlo. It's just really important to make that distinction.
Just jump right into it. And, Canelo's a motherfucking beast. You know what I'm saying? He an ox. Maybe I felt that more because of the fact that, this is my first time at that weight division. I wish I could have gained a little bit more weight in between from the weigh-in to that time, but I can't control my body and I can't, but like God had this already written. And, I'm glad that I was in there with, to put on the performance for Showtime pay-per-view.
So he said he wished that he could have gained a little bit more weight leading up to the fight. He wished he had more time to get acclimated to 168 by walking around at that weight longer. And actually, that's exactly what Terrence Crawford did. Will it make a difference? We'll see next Saturday. But there were also other factors that led to Jermell Charlo losing to Canelo Alvarez. Jermell was trying to rely on foot movement, but he doesn't have the type of foot movement and angles that Terrence Crawford has. So a lot of times, Jermell, he would make the mistake of backing up straight to the ropes. That's not something that Crawford does too often. And to make things even worse for Jermell is he doesn't have the type of reflexes or the type of defense that a Crawford has when his back is against the ropes. Jermell Charlo, he was also a little bit more predictable with his attacks. For example, Canelo, he knew when Jermell's left hook was coming. A lot of times what Canelo likes to do is he applies pressure, but once he backs you up and he senses that you're going to try to hit him with a counter, Canelo will always take a step back. He'll jump back. This is something he did a lot in the William Scoe fight. In fact, he really respected William Scoe because a lot of times when Canelo would back up Scoe, let's say Scoe would back up to the ropes, Canelo was extremely reluctant to let his hands go. He would think about it, and then all of a sudden, he would just back up. And he would let William Scoe off the ropes because a lot of times when they did exchange, William Scoe, he was beating Canelo to the punch. But one of the differences from William Scoe and Jermell Charlo is William Scoe is a natural super middleweight. So not only did Jermell Charlo learn that he was at a massive size disadvantage, but he was making a lot of mistakes that I don't believe Crawford is going to make. Now here's Jermell Charlo talking about some of the mistakes that his brother told him that he made leading up to the fight.
I like Crawford. All right. My brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I got to get massive, I got to get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower. It made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermell Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harris. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as that. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're going to see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all got to think about it like
Big for Crawford.
the money is good, but we don't expect. I don't expect Terrence Crawford to be the Terrence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terrence Crawford.
But does it look Canelo?
I'm not picking either one of them.
So you heard him say he likes the fact that Crawford, he stayed big, which is once again a difference from what Jamel did, how he prepared for the Canelo Alvarez fight. And then he said he's not picking either one of them to win, which means he feels it can go either way, as opposed to just saying he feels that when it comes to Crawford, the size is going to be too much. So even though he didn't make an official prediction, it still says a lot the way he broke it down. When it comes to this fight, the main thing people talk about is the size or the size disadvantage. We hear so many people say there's weight classes for a reason. Canelo Alvarez said it, which he believes, at least he said this before the fight was signed. He said he thought that this would be an easy fight because he has too much of a size advantage, right? But the crazy thing is, Crawford, a long time ago, he pretty much said the same thing, that there are weight classes for a reason.
What's the highest you can fight at, realistically?
I would say 154 realistically.
154.
You know,
So
them boys get big up there. Them boys get big up there. And I'm not a person to, you know, toot my own horn too loud to be able to say, oh, well, I can beat the world. You know, I understand there's weight classes for a reason, and I respect the weight classes.
Matter of fact, a good question for Terrence Crawford would be, what made you change your views on you saying that? You know, for you to go from saying that, you know, there are weight divisions for a reason. I even remember a while ago when Crawford, he said if we were to fight, it would have to be a catch weight or Canelo would have to come down. And of course, Canelo, he said right away, I ain't going down. And shortly after that, maybe like a couple weeks or maybe shorter than that, Crawford came out and said, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't need a catch weight. I'll fight him at 168 with no type of rehydration clause. Now, Terrence, he did say on the countdown, the Netflix countdown leading up to this fight, you know, he hopes that Canelo Alvarez comes in as heavy as he can. He hopes he comes in at 200 pounds the night of the fight. He said that's better for him. But when it comes to these smaller weight classes like super middleweights, you know, it's not like Usyk fighting against heavyweights like Tyson Fury or someone like that who's going to be 60 pounds, 40 pounds bigger than you. Because then when you're fighting against somebody that big, there's no doubt about it, that extra weight, it turns into a disadvantage. Because natural heavyweights, they're already slow compared to other weight classes. And this is the reason why Usyk is having so much success at the heavyweight division right now. Because natural heavyweights, at least the average natural heavyweight, he's not going to be able to keep up with the condition of a smaller heavyweight who moves around like a super middleweight. So in the heavyweight division, at least with the type of heavyweights that Usyk is fighting right now, because let's not forget, he hasn't really fought a whole lot of heavyweights. He hasn't had the type of career that a Lennox Lewis or even the Klitschko brothers had when it comes to a different variety, a large variety of different heavyweight styles. He's only been in the ring with AJ Fury and Dubois.
You know, everybody's in love with big heavyweights, but you're not going to have great cardio if you're 280, 290 pounds, man. Your body's just lugging around too much mass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't see no distance runners weighing almost 300 pounds. It just don't work that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, he just has a built-in advantage. You know, that's why I don't like to compare sizes where it'd be like, well, Usyk fighting guys 50 pounds heavier than her, and then they want to compare in a way in Crawford because, and I love Usyk. I think he's a special generational talent. But after you get so big, then the size works against you. It doesn't work for you anymore. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of apples and oranges comparison because a guy 280, 290 pounds, he may be able to hurt you, but at a certain point of the fight, his energy levels drop off and he just can't hang with you no more. And I think Usyk is just taking advantage of the fact that these guys don't have the cardio or the conditioning to deal with him. Tyson Fury has good conditioning for a big fighter, but he can't hang with a 220-pound elite guy. He just gets tired when they fight. You could just see it. He's just fatigued and he's tired.
which is the reason why a fighter like Moses Itama, he's going to give Usyk a lot of problems. Now, this is not to imply that a big guy can't beat a smaller guy. It still has something to do with the IQ level as well. For example, if Usyk was fighting someone like a Vitaly Klitschko or even a Vladimir Klitschko or a Lennox Lewis, those would be far more difficult fights for Usyk and vice versa. And this is the reason why it's ridiculous for anyone to compare Usyk or Tyson Fury to Muhammad Ali when they're not even comparing him to Usyk's predecessors when it comes to the heavyweight division. Like I said, you got Lennox Lewis, Holyfield, the Klitschko brothers, Mike Tyson. And what makes it even crazier is I don't even remember fans comparing Lennox Lewis to Muhammad Ali. So we know what time it is when they're comparing Tyson Fury and Usyk to Ali. So the point that I'm making is Canelo Alvarez is a super middleweight. He's not a heavyweight. So I believe that no matter what size Canelo comes in, he's still going to pretty much have the same speed that we always see from a Canelo. What it's going to really come down to is, can Terence Crawford get Canelo Alvarez's respect? Because when Canelo fought Cotto, there was a big size difference between the two. And Canelo Alvarez, the way he fought like he didn't have too much respect for Cotto's power. Even though it was like a boxing match, like a chess match, Canelo, he seemed to have the confidence of the much bigger man. In fact, I've only watched that fight like one time, and now I want to go back and watch it again. But I feel like that was one of Canelo's best performances.
You guys were boxing at, it was a boxer-puncher kind of fight, both of you. And the difference seemed to be that your punches were having a greater effect on him than his were on you when he landed. Did you feel his power?
Así es. Así es. La verdad que mis respetos para Cotto, como le he dicho.
You know, truthfully, like I said, my respects for Cotto, as I said.
Yo me sentí muy bien. Lo único que yo quería es, no importa que conectara 10 golpes, pero bien dados.
You know, like I said, my respect for him. What I said, it doesn't matter if I landed 10 punches, but 10 well-connected punches.
So every fight is different, especially when it comes to small guys moving up and fighting naturally bigger guys. When it comes to Miguel Cotto, he was much smaller than Canelo Alvarez, but he didn't have the type of defense or the IQ that a Terence Crawford has. Same thing with Jermell Charlo. He doesn't have the high IQ that a Crawford has. So is that going to be a difference? I mean, once again, we still don't know. It's still hard to say because we have never seen Crawford fight at such a high weight class. But I do believe that Crawford, he's going to come out and he's going to try to get Canelo Alvarez respect. We have never seen Crawford just moving around the ring, not knowing what to do, trying to figure things out on the fly. Because I feel that's actually the way that Canelo Alvarez fought Golovkin in the first fight. He was just constantly moving, trying to figure things out. I think Crawford, he's going to try to keep the fight in the center of the ring. He's going to try to stay off the ropes as much as he can. He may tie up Canelo every once in a while just to turn him or force him to reset. And if he starts to get Canelo Alvarez respect and he starts landing good body shots, then I believe the second half, Crawford is going to pick it up. But if Crawford can't get Canelo Alvarez respect at all, then things may go the other way. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, the fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to LODkey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.